Oh my God. Right. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Epic debate, internet, blood sports, the debate to end all debates. Mercian has challenged me. Mercian has declared that he is the expert in
What?
political. Mercian has declared he is the expert in political theory. He says he's going to put me in my place. I said, bring it on, Mercian. Let's have it. It's the day after Boxing Day. Let's fix all the problems in the country, and so that's what we're going to do. What we want to talk about is here we go. So this is my YouTube channel, and as you can see, I made a video here called England Needs Direct Democracy. This is an hour and a half video. This is my master plan to save the country. Okay, it's right there. It's beautiful. I recommend that everybody watches it. And essentially in this video, I am proposing three things. Okay. Number one, I propose that we march on Parliament and demand a general election, because I do not think that we will make it till 2029. And I think we need to get rid of the Labour government, essentially. Number two, I think that we should do this every year. I think we should have a yearly general election. And number three, I think that we should have direct democracy like the Swiss. And I think this is the true conclusion of the Enlightenment. I won't go into all of my explanations for this because, as I said, like in the video, I talked about this for an hour and a half. So, this is a debate that's based on the video. If you're more interested in these ideas, then go watch the video. But anyway, these are my three proposals. Mercian, you've watched the video. What's your answer?
Well, it's like I said to you before. I don't really have a problem with the ideas. It's always been, and you addressed this in the video. It's always been a point of authority, a leader, and discipline within the ranks, and making sure everyone, a small group of organised people.
Yes.
And that's a small group of organised people will always outflank the unorganised masses.
Yes. Yes, I agree. This is what Sun Tzu said in The Art of War. Essentially, the army that is organised is the army that will win.
Exactly. So the way you've always put, I mean, you did it differently in the video you made. I don't know how you expected this stream to go, by the way. I'm not even sure how this stream's going to go. But the way you've always traditionally put it is sort of like, we'll march on Parliament and this will happen. And me and Tharium have always said, well, you need organisation and you need a leader and people to follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I've never disagreed with that.
Well, I've never disagreed with you with the actual idea itself. It's just a pragmatic, right? Okay, well, this and this needs to happen then.
Yeah, I think where we're disagreeing is, like, it's not that the idea itself is bad. It's like, how do you get 1 million people to march on London? Like, how do you practically make it happen? That's where the disagreement is.
And don't forget.
So I'm just kind of taking it as an assumption that obviously in order to make such a thing happen, you need leadership and organization and etc. I mean, I just take that as a basic assumption. Like, of course, I don't expect 1 million people just to spontaneously march on London. They would have to, they would have to be led by somebody. So maybe this is how I'm getting into a disagreement with these people that are banging on about elite theory, and they're saying, oh, you think populism works. Of course, populism doesn't. Well, it's like, well, no, obviously the elites rule the country, and obviously the popular masses need to be led by a section of the elites. And that's, I mean, what is elite theory? Elite theory basically means elites ruling over the people.
Well, it's not just, I mean, so obviously I've watched a lot of Academic Agent. I know in our particular circles. With the academic agent is a bit of a dark figure these days. Maybe he always has been. But I feel like when academic agent was coming out with all this elite theory, he was trying to explain how the woke left or the woke came to get into power and how their power structure works, or how any power structure works, and how to fight against it.
Right. Oh, okay. Well, if he's look, I'm not a fan of AA. So
No,
I've never really
watched. I know.
I mean, I'm just I'm just saying the way I see, because I haven't really followed his work and I haven't read his book, so I don't know. But the way I see it presented, in what little I have seen, it appears when he's talking about elite theory, he seems to be presenting a demoralization tactic. He seems to be saying, "Oh, you can't do anything. You are powerless." In fact, didn't he write a book saying the failure of populism?
The populist delusion.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, you can't do anything. Shut up and let Tony Blair run the country. That seems to be the argument that I'm receiving. I mean, if it's something else, then you can
No,
correct
I get what you're saying, because you came up with the whole riding the tiger sort of. I think that's what you were talking about, the whole riding the tiger, sort of like you need to ride it out until the conditions are right to have a counter elite. I mean, I don't know where AA's current trajectory is. It seems to have changed again within the last 6 months or so. I assume it's the same, but as people have pointed out to me, he does seem to be a Peter Hitchens type character, always changing his mind.
Yeah, contrarian.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still watch a few of his videos here and there. I think I preferred it when he did unpopular opinions. I did like that particular stream.
Right.
But, I mean, from my point of view, it was the reason he pushed elite theory is to make us all aware of how the game is played. You can't win a game if you don't know the rules.
Right.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the elites rule us. There's nothing we can do, because in elite theory you can have a counter elite.
Well, if that's the theory, then that's fine. I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm gonna have to read his books and develop some kind of proper response to this. But I mean, I suppose if all he is saying is that don't expect to just complain on the internet and then stuff will happen. If that's what he's saying, then I would agree. You need to
essentially. I mean,
you need to have your own leaders, and you need to promote them, and then you need to push upwards. That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I think his whole theory about that riding the tiger was riding out this storm until the conditions are right for a counter elite to take over.
Yeah.
But I think where we're on agreement is, I don't think we've got time to ride the tiger.
Yeah. I don't think we can make it to 2029. I really think this is it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want a white pill from the elite theory, even if the worst case scenario happens by 2060, according to elite theory, a small group of organized people can sway. I mean, it's happened to certain sects within the Middle Eastern reign. That's how they get their power. A small group of organized people controlling the world.
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's put AA aside to 1 second.
Yeah. No problem. Go on.
So, what do you think? Because I'm proposing. Let's go through this step by step, right? Because you went to university, you studied philosophy, right? So, I'm proposing that we march on Parliament and demand a general election. Now, putting aside the question of whether we can get the people there or not. I mean, let's go through this step by step. You agree with me that we can't wait till 2029, right? We're on the same page there. We don't want another 4 years of mass immigration. We don't want to see more children murdered at school or waiting at the bus stop or whatever it is. We don't want another 4 another 2 million military-aged Muslims entering the country. We don't want a Sharia law police force. We don't want to rejoin the European Union. We don't want all of these things, right? So something has to be done now. So we agree on that. So my argument is we copy the Arab Spring. We get 1 million people. We march on Parliament. We camp outside of it. We sit there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, a week, whatever it is, and we demand a general election. And my argument is that if we could pull this off, they would be forced to back down, and they would be forced to give us what they want, because I don't think that the army would shoot us. Do you think? Am I wrong in this?
I'm not sure what all I would say about the Arab Spring is, if you believe the elite theory side, is the Arab Spring was astroturfed. It wasn't a grassroots movement.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get this from elite theorists that if you looked at the Arab Spring and went, oh, that's grassroots, that's populism. And elite theorists are saying, no, there's elites behind that, and elites that allowed that to happen, or got behind it in some way. And you will always hear that from an elite theorist point of view.
Okay, well, I'll counter that by saying, first of all, yeah, that's true. The American Revolution was a Masonic revolution, right? Paid for by the French. The Bolshevik Revolution, that we had a bunch of Hebrews. They sent them to Russia. Germans helped pay for that, right? Because they were fighting against Russia at the time. French Revolution again, Masonic Revolution. So yes, but I mean, we could theoretically ally ourselves with a foreign power. We could ally ourselves with America. Donald Trump is very pro-England. He's quite vocal about it.
I mean, arguably, I mean, what does Elon Musk and Donald Trump think of it all?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be on our side. I mean, this is one of the arguments I'm saying. Like, we live in an age in which we have an extremely pro-English president in America.
This is how you've got to think, and perhaps if the conditions are right from America. I mean, like, I don't know what America's going to look like after Donald Trump.
Exactly. No, this is what I'm saying. We should take our chance while it's there. We don't always have a pro-English president, obviously.
Yeah, and we don't know what's coming next.
Bush, even though Bush was a Republican, he wasn't really pro-English, so to speak. I mean, he wasn't really against us, but he didn't really seem to care.
No, I get that. America's a different beast, but to have America on our side would be advantageous, should we say?
Yeah. So I mean, look, like I say, I don't think it should just be. I don't think the police will shoot us. I don't think, obviously, we just march. Like you got stages, so you get the E-Celebs on your side, you get the Tommy Robinsons on your side, you get all the people on the internet talking about it, and then you communicate with the MAGA movement, and you get them talking about it, and then everybody's talking about it on the internet. And then you push it, you organize it, you go there, and the idea is that because we're just asking for a general election, we're not asking for a fascist dictatorship. We're not asking for, to hang anybody or anything like this. We're just saying, look, guys, we want a general election. This is supposed to be a liberal democracy. We don't like you. We want a general election. It seems to be a fair complaint. And because it seems to be a fair complaint, I think that the opposition, it would be difficult for Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage and the others to say, oh, no, we don't want a general election. I mean, it's their job to be the opposition. Like, even if they themselves are a bit weak and useless, I mean, their followers would be kind of demanding it. So I say we march hand in hand with the left, and we get the MAGA movement on our side, and you get it all organized, and then you just go there and you camp outside Parliament, and then you just make it happen. And I just don't think they're going to shoot us. And I think it's doable if you had the organization. I mean, the question is how to get the organization, basically.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think the other problem is I don't have a problem marching with the left for the good of the country, but the left have a problem marching with us for the good of the country?
Well, I don't. I mean, that's. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why I would open up the thing further, and I would have a conversation about direct democracy. You see, that's why I'm proposing three things. That's why I'm saying it should be a yearly election, because if we do it, this will be a first in British history, as far as I understand it. It'll be the first time that the people have marched on Parliament and forced them to give us a general election. And so, if we do it once, what will stop the left from doing it the next year? And the answer would be, well, nothing. So next year, Jeremy Corbyn would turn. Like, let's say we do it this year, or in 2026, we do it. We go there, English spring. We go there in the spring. It's beautiful. We win. There's a general election. Farage gets in. We have a year of Farage. Well, first of all, Farage is going to be rubbish because he's useless. But second of all, Jeremy Corbyn, and my mind's going blank. I can't remember the green guy. What's his name?
Jack Polanski, is it?
Yeah, Polanski.
Oh, Zach
Polanski and all these characters, they were just, it's like you've opened Pandora's box. They will come back the next year and also demand an election, you see. So you're going, what I'm saying is, this is why I say a yearly election. If you do it once, you're opening the door for it to happen again and again and again and again and again and again. I think that's it. That's the inevitable conclusion.
So you may have seen a debate that was happening in one of the chats, and at one point we were talking about the House of Lords. Unfortunately, the House of Lords has been subverted, but maybe it'd be nice.
Just so the chat knows what we're talking. You're talking about Tharium and Jonathan Bowden going at it about reform.
Jonathan Bowden quotes. Jonathan Bowden's no longer with us, guys.
No. That's the real Jonathan Bowden. He's in hiding.
Yeah,
he's in my chat group.
Yeah, and you know him personally.
Yeah, and he's a reform supporter. So
there you go. Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah.
Anyway, at one point we were talking about the House of Lords, and unfortunately, the House of Lords has been subverted by Blairites. But wouldn't it be nice if an unsubverted House of Lords had the power based on poll figures, i.e., how happy the country is, to have a general election at the House of Lords, based on poll numbers?
What? An election for the House of Lords, not the Commons?
No, not for the House of not for the House of Lords, because like House of Lords are kind of like the overseers of the House of Commons, and as I understand the House of Lords, the way it's supposed to be, or the way it's traditionally been, is they can't veto any policy that was in a party's manifesto.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to put policy forwards.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, as part of a overseers, maybe one of the powers is to force a general election for the House of Commons based on poll numbers. And I don't know.
You're saying we should get the House of Lords to force the House of Commons to have a general election. Is that what you're saying?
Based on polling.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen because they're useless and they hate us.
Well, they do now, but Blairites really have subverted the House of Lords.
Yeah. So that's not going to happen.
No, but I'm sort of it's a stupid idea. I've got this idealistic kind of,
a lot of people are. I mean, we've got Tharium in the chat saying, "Oh, we want to only have hereditary lords in the House of Lords." It's like, what are you talking about? The aristocracy doesn't care. Okay, I'm sorry if I don't want to be a jerk here, but let's just lay this on the line. The monarchy doesn't care about young white girls being raped by Muslims. The aristocracy don't care. The Church of England doesn't care. The police force doesn't really care. The BBC doesn't care. All of the Oxford University doesn't care. Like all of the institutions of power, they do not care. They have all rejected us. They've all turned against the English people. The only power that we have left is the power of the mob. That's it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
arguing that we march
The,
non-violent.
the only power we have, whether you believe in elite theory or not, is the one power that is supposed to be useless.
Exactly. So that's my point. That's what I'm saying, because we have nobody in the elites that are on our side. So literally the only thing we can do is
Is
get
make our
together.
own elites.
Yeah, get together as a mass and say we want a general election. Like, you people are awful, and then do it year after year after year until we can flush these idiots out of power and change things. But yeah, I mean, that's the idea. I mean, partly I'm inspired. I'm going to finish it now. Actually, I'm going to finish it at Christmas. I've been reading it really slowly because I've been reading it at work. But I've been reading Livy's History of Rome, the early history of the Roman Republic, and the plebs refused to fight. Because the patricians, they would get the plebs, obviously their pleb army would go out and fight different people and whatever, and so you'd have these peasants or plebs fighting in the army, and they'd come back home, and the patricians had, like, they owed money, and they'd get into debt, and they'd lose their farm. They'd end up in poverty, and they'd be like, well, I've just gone and fought this war, now I'm broke, while you flipping aristocrats are sitting on your ass doing nothing. And so they refused to fight, and they left Rome, and they sat on the sacred mount outside Rome, and they said, I'm not going to fight unless you give us political power. And that's how they got their political power. So, I mean, this is what I'm proposing is an ancient idea.
Yeah. That's say history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. And I feel like that rhyming might happen, especially. Yeah. I mean, they were talking about the draft again just before Christmas, weren't they?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. We are in a very dangerous position. There is nothing to stop our government from putting 100,000 Muslims in the army. What's going to stop them? Nothing.
Well, there is that. I mean, like, I think they're serious about the draft. I mean, that they could draft us all as a reason not to have the general election in 2029. Wartime.
They could do all kinds of things. They could rig the election. I mean, they rigged the election in America in 2020. So Muslims don't care about rigging election. They don't have some like moral. They don't believe in our democratic values. They've got no problem doing it. The Labour Party have got no problem doing it. They're communists. They don't really believe in democracy. So what's going to stop them from just 2029 comes around? Look, it's a landslide Labour victory. Like, what's going to stop them? Nobody's going to stop them.
And this is a point you need to put forward when you put your ideas. It's like who says there's going to be an election in 2029?
Yeah,
because I mean, I forget where it was, but didn't someone interview a big Labour politician, not necessarily Keir Starmer? I think it was someone like Rachel Reeves or someone on that kind of level, like a front bencher, and she wouldn't deny that an election wouldn't be delayed. I mean, look at the local elections of delaying those.
Yeah, I stopped following the story, but what happened? Like, what the heck? What on earth is going on? It's absurd. It's absurd.
I know what's going to happen. Reform are going to get in, and they're trying. They're using every trick in the book to try and stop it. But
yeah,
I mean, people say that people on our side are the fascists and authoritarians. Look at what Labour are doing. Look at what Labour are trying to attempt.
Yeah, these people are psychotic. I mean, Hitchens was right. It was absolutely like. I mean, this is why I don't know. It's a bit of a tangent, but I mean, this is why I was telling people to vote for the Tory party, because like these people are just utterly. We are ruled over by a communist Islamic government. That's what it is. They hate us. I mean, they hate us. Like Keir Starmer himself at the Labour conference, he came out and said, "You are the enemy." So, I mean, I don't want to be horrible or anything, but as far as I'm concerned, we've already lost. Basically, they're just consolidating their power. The only thing I'm proposing is like a real last ditch, last chance. This is it, guys. Like, we're not going to make it to 2029. We've got one card left to play. We better play it. That's my argument.
And I've never being 100% against you on that. I guess I'm just picking out the flaws and pointing them out, and trying to make you think about, well, if you're serious, what do we do about X, Y, Z?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's the end. It's the eternal question. It's like you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink, right? I mean,
Yeah, I do think the other part of the equation is people are still far too comfortable.
yeah.
We haven't lost our bread and circuses yet. I mean, we may well, but
Well,
we haven't yet.
Well, the economy might crash soon when the AI thing bursts.
I don't even think the AI thing needs to burst. We never fully recovered from 2008.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of pressures on the economy outside of the AI thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even need to be the AI thing that does it.
Yeah. They seem to have perfected the technique of just kind of dragging things on without letting it get really, really bad, because they know when things get really, really bad, people get angry and they start rioting. So they kind of seem to have perfected that. But I mean, I think there's got to be a crash at some point.
Well, the economy is patched together with gaffer tape, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
It hasn't looked good for the past 25. Well, not 25 years, but 2008. God, is that nearly 20 years? It's about 17, 16 years or something like that.
Yeah.
The economy hasn't been great since 2007.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so look, I guess the question comes, right? How do we make it happen? Okay, because it seems like you're not really against it. It's just you're saying, well, how do we get Tommy Robertson on?
I just want you to look at the facts rather than because you can wander off down these lines, but ultimately there needs to be a leader. People need to be disciplined because, like it or not, the Labour government or whoever's pulling the strings aren't going to like us all marching down. I mean, they didn't like Tommy's rally, did they? And it's going to be the same sort of thing. I mean, you talk about peace and love, but you're going to have police trying to affect some kind of retaliation or trying to provoke a response just so they can arrest people. The institutions are not going to be on the side of anyone who marches, left or right. If the elites don't like it, they will look for a reason to stop it.
Yeah, so if there's a million of us.
Well, you're going to need very disciplined people who aren't there to LARP. They need to take this seriously.
Doesn't have to be that disciplined if there's a million of you. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, look, my argument is if the ideas are good, then people should follow. I mean, I'm quite naive and idealistic in that manner. I just think that this is the correct conclusion. This is the correct solution. And once people see it's the correct solution, they'll go, yeah, that's a good idea. And then they'll follow and then they'll talk about it. I don't see anybody else proposing the correct solution. I just see people, as always, on the dissident right, they're just kind of like flip-flopping around and going, ooh, and kind of dreaming that at some point there'll be some kind of revolution or some silly nonsense like this. So I think if you can just get enough people to understand the desperate nature of the situation and also get them to understand that this is the only real path out of this situation, then they'll choose the path out, I suppose. This is why I'm saying, like, you can meme it into existence. I mean, I think you really can, actually, because this is what's happened to me. Like, as soon as I started reading about Switzerland and referendums and I got the idea in my head, it was just like, now I just think to myself, like, well, why can't we have a referendum on everything that Parliament does? I can't get the idea out of my head. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I just can't get the idea out of my head. It's fixed in there. And I think, like, if we just propose marching on Parliament as the solution to our problems, and if enough people have the idea, if you want to, the idea is in your head, then every time you see something bad happen on the TV, you'll just think, well, just march on Parliament, isn't it? That's the solution.
It's a shame our political system has been subverted the way it has, because we're not supposed to have a Supreme Court. I mean, we already had checks and balances. The checks and balances were the House of Lords. And what people don't understand about the House of Lords, they couldn't, like, if a party got in and they voted in anything on the manifesto that party brought in and got voted in for, House of Lords can't touch, right? So if a party got in and say we want mass sort of deportations, the House of Lords couldn't stop that because it's in the manifesto. However, if a party got in and said, right, okay, we're going to do deportations now, well, guess what? The House of Lords can step in and say, oh, we're not doing that. And that could stop it because it's not in the manifesto. So, like,
I don't know if that's true. I don't think they have any power at all. I mean, they could try.
Yeah, they don't have any power. I mean, they didn't have as much power as people think before Blairites, to be fair.
This was sorted out, as far as I understand it, this was sorted out way back in like 1910. There was a constitutional crisis. I think this was, I can't, you can look it up on Wikipedia, but it's something to do with some kind of tax on the aristocracy or something like this. I forget. Or maybe it was the beginning of the welfare state. I forget. But the aristocrats weren't happy. There was a constitutional crisis. The king stepped in, and he basically took the power away from the lords, and that was the end of that. Basically, they don't have the power.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's the problem.
Well, I mean, our current king at the moment. I mean, when do you not see a post on X about like how Islamified he is as well?
Yeah. What do I?
You never see good propaganda about the king anymore. Like,
yeah, the king. It's all over, mate. This is what I'm saying. All of the elites are against us. We only have one card left to play. We have the power of the mob. That's the only thing we have left. So I'm just saying, play the card. I mean, okay, let's take a step back here then, okay? Because I'm proposing three things. Marching on Parliament, okay? We kind of agree that that's a good idea if we could get it to happen. Liberalism itself. Let's talk about my disagreement with King Sargon, who has rejected liberalism. And I did a couple of videos on this. And Sargon did a video saying my fall from liberalism. He says he's rejected liberalism, and he doesn't know what he wants to replace it with. Personally, I think that's retarded.
I think he wants to replace it like he doesn't. I mean, I agree with you. Doesn't really. He talks about Aristotelian. I can't even speak now. Aristotelian virtue ethics. Be a good person. I'm not sure how that applies to society, especially with a society that's no longer homogenous. Like, you may be a homogenous society who everyone plays by the same rules, but there's nothing about liberalism that wouldn't have allowed Aristotelian virtue ethics. Really,
I think he's playing a straw man on people. It's going on, burp. Excuse me. I think he's playing a straw man on people because he seems to be equating a belief in liberalism with a belief in the blank slate theory of mind. And this is just not true, in my opinion. Now, it is true that John Locke is considered to be the father of classical liberalism, or the father of libertarianism, as they call it in America. And it is also true that John Locke promoted the blank slate theory of mind. However, that just because that is true doesn't mean that the blank slate theory of mind is an intrinsic part of the political theory of liberalism. Liberalism wants equality for the people, but it doesn't. It believes people are equal in that they have equal rights, but it doesn't believe that people are equal in that they have the equal amount of physical strength or mental strength. So see what I'm saying? So I think Sargon is straw manning liberalism essentially. He's made a straw man. He's trying to promote this idea, and I see it all over the internet all the time. He's promoting this idea that if you believe in liberalism, then you believe in the blank slate theory of mind. But this is just completely false.
We really need Sargon on, don't we?
Oh, you studied philosophy. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, no. I meant for you to discuss your ideas with Sargon specifically. I didn't mean like
right, yeah,
to replace me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to have him on, but he won't talk to me. But so there you go. You know.
Well, no, I just don't think we're big enough for Sargon yet.
Well, this is the problem with the internet is a click. So then they're clicky, and that just is what it is. I mean, this is the question of the elite theory. Like they've formed their own elite. They have their followers, and they are protecting their elite position on the internet by not letting outsiders in. It's a click. It's a power play. That's.
Oh, by the way, if you're watching this stream and you haven't subscribed to either Brutus or me, I think you should do, so we can grow in power and get our ideas out there.
Yeah, that's the plan. But what is your answer to my question? I mean, do you believe in the blank slate theory of mind? Do you think that this is a foundation?
No, certainly not anymore. No,
right,
no. I mean, you were foaming at the mouth when I was talking to SJJ day before Christmas Eve when I was talking about this liberalism. And I was coming from this perspective that if the blank theory of mind was part of liberalism, then it should be cut out of liberalism, and we shouldn't throw liberalism away just because of this one tenant. That was going to be my point.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the conversation.
You were not happy.
No, I probably wasn't. No, sorry.
That's fine.
I was probably drinking. I've given up drinking now, so I'm doing a dry January, so I'm a little clear-headed. But yeah. So anyway, the point being, I'm trying to. I don't want to live in a fascist dictatorship. I don't want to have an absolute monarchy. I think it's a terrible idea. People are promoting this idea. I think it's absurd. Like looking at the way our elites behave, why would we give all of our power to them? Seems to be madness. So I personally think there's a vast conspiracy going on here to undermine the idea of liberalism itself, so that we just give our votes away and we accept Elon Musk and the PayPal mafia's totalitarian technocracy, and we just put our hands in the air and we say, "Oh, democracy has failed," and so now all of a sudden we're being ruled over by our hero Elon Musk. But I don't think Elon Musk is a hero at all. I think he's playing the role of a hero, but I wouldn't trust him. I wouldn't trust him at all. Like he wants UBI. He's quite open about that. He wants his H-1B visas. As far as I understand, he hasn't cancelled them. He's still, all of his buddies in Silicon Valley are replacing all the white people with Indians. He wants to put chips into people's brains. He seems to have this utopian idea that AI is going to create, this fully automated robot economy. Like this is just clown world, pie in the sky, utopian, technocratic nonsense. I just don't trust the guy. I don't see why people do. I think it's quite foolish. It seems to me like Silicon Valley's got a plan for world domination. Peter Thiel certainly seems to think that way. Jarvis Curtin, the old Mencius Moldbug seems to feel that way. And they're lined up to pull it off because, of course, they've got J.D. Vance as the vice president. He's going to be the next president, probably. They're pushing for that now. So I think they're throwing a bone to the white man, trying to say a few things to get us on their side. But I don't think I don't think they're really on our side. I don't trust them at all, and I don't trust the way in which everybody's turning against democracy and blaming democracy for all of our problems, when democracy worked fine for a while. It worked in America fine for a while. It became the most prosperous nation on the planet with liberalism. It was one of the most racist countries on the planet with liberalism. The whole of America is built on a race war of the white man fighting the Indians. We had Jim Crow with liberalism. We had Jackson and the Trail of Tears with liberalism. We had a white-only immigration policy in Australia with liberalism. We had an English ethno-state with liberalism. So it's foolish and mistaken, I think, to equate liberalism with demographic replacement. I think what we need to do is just fix the liberalism and go back to the way things were in the Victorian age.
Well, probably. You know more about history than I do. When do you think democracy was subverted into an autocracy? Because I think it was before Blair, certainly.
Well, sorry, my computer keeps cutting out. I just think it's the long-term effect of feminism. I would blame it on giving women the vote. Essentially, it's just taken many decades for that to have its effect.
Yeah, I mean, this was Sargon's point about like whenever something comes into power, like when a new law happens or something changes, it doesn't change the world overnight. It takes years, possibly decades, to show the effects of it.
Yeah,
we haven't learned our lesson from this.
Yeah. Well, my argument, as I keep saying, is that women are just not designed for political power. They're too soft in the head. They're not aggressive. Men are designed for violence and aggression, and they're very good at defending borders and protecting stuff. Women like to compromise, and they like to pacify, and they're very conformist. They're not very confrontational, and they get offended easily. They can't really handle freedom of speech because they're not really capable of a free and open debate. They just take everything personally. And so what happens is, by giving them the vote, you're inviting them into the political arena. And so then they just start to henpeck the men and create their own safe spaces and to create their own laws of what's polite and not polite. And basically they will push all of the aggressive men out of the halls of power. It won't happen at once, but slowly over the decades, anybody who's just a bit tough, the women will say, oh, he's upset me, or he's too rude, or he's too abrasive, or, he touched my knee, or something like this. And they're not in power anymore. And then the only men that will be left in power will be very feminized and weak men. And so then when Axel Ruda Cabana murders 3 children, what do these weak feminized men do? Nothing. And this is the situation that we're in now. So, I mean, I would blame it on the women, basically. So, yeah.
No, I get what you're saying.
Because they're just too weak. They can't defend the border. And they've created men that can't defend the border.
They have no... What's the words I'm looking for? They don't have any threat detection. They can't see threats.
Right.
That's the other part. I know you're more of a pagan, but in Christian belief, Adam and Eve and the whole snake. I mean, this is Petersonian. This is about like how Eve trusted the snake.
Yeah.
This is old, ancient knowledge that we've known that women just don't assess threats properly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, to get so that's why I think liberalism has failed. Okay. So are you more or less on my board on my side then, that you think liberalism in general is a good idea, or what do you want? Do you want a fascist dictatorship?
No. Because I've been a Sargonite in my political awakening from day dot, from the early days of Sargon videos back in 2013. Like I was straight on it because I had a philosophical mind. I subscribed to lots of philosophy channels. Bloody hell, I can't speak.
Philosophical channels.
Philosophical channels. But I was actually trying to say philosophy channels. But yeah, yeah. Well, I even followed some of the ones that went trans in the end, and that was a shock to me.
Oh wow.
What was that? I forget. It wasn't ContraPoints. What was the other one? The Philosophy Tube.
I don't know.
when Philosophy Tube was doing philosophy, he used to talk about actual philosophers. And then he started getting to the left wing politics. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, so like, I'm a woman now.
Oh wow,
I think it was Philosophy.
that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. No. And some of the other channels I used to watch before I watched Sargon videos that have trans themselves.
Yeah, well, that's kind of crazy. Yeah,
It's so weird how that's become a thing. I think that's old news now. The whole transing issue. I think we're past the worst of that now, but it hasn't been resolved either. I feel like that's waiting to dig its claws in again when the time is right.
Well, it's certainly not fashionable like it is now. I mean, they came out, they appeared on the scene, they made a lot of noise. A lot of people got swept up in it. I guess they thought they were cool, but the statistics are out there now. I mean, everybody knows these people are committing suicide, and everybody knows they're ugly, and they've seen the scars, and they've seen like the failed transitions, so I think people are just a bit like, ugh, just a bit repulsed.
It seems to have quietened down. It's not as loud as it was a few years ago, but
yeah,
I feel like that's dormant. It isn't extinct.
No, I don't think it will be. I think it's like homosexuality itself. It's always going to rear its ugly head.
Yeah, it's waiting for the opportune moment. I mean, I remember Milo talking about like how the paedophile thing will become as prevalent as the trans issue or the gay issue, or
yeah,
it never quite came to be, but I don't necessarily disbelieve that either.
Well, this is what it's heading towards, I think. I mean, put it this way: homosexuality was classed as a mental disorder, and then they changed that so that it was classed as a sexual preference, and then it was legalized. In a similar way, pedophilia was classed as a mental disorder. I think they may have changed it, or maybe they're trying to change it. I don't know. I haven't looked at the law, but the next step will be to have it classed as a sexual preference. And I've certainly seen over the years, like there was a famous article back in 2016. I think the title of the article was "I'm a pedophile, but I'm not a monster." And the guy was just saying like, oh, I just can't help my feelings and this kind of thing. And so they've touched on it a few times. They've tried to like push it, and yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is they want
I think that's going to be the last frontier.
Well, I mean, I think the last frontier is just open satanic ritual abuse. That's the last one. The last frontier is they bring out the statue of Baal and they start, burning children alive. That's where this whole thing ends up, I think. But yeah, the pedo is definitely a big step on the way because you have to overcome basic parental instinct, which is very hard to overcome, but it's not impossible at all. I mean,
I think this kind of thinking is part of why Sargon is kind of anti-liberal, because, as you said, liberalism is freedom, and freedom to the left is the freedom of sexuality, freedom from your own body, freedom from biology, science.
Well, my counter argument to that would be to say that real liberalism, and the liberalism that I support now, which is direct democracy, not electoral, not representative democracy. Real liberalism's never been tried, kids, but real liberalism is direct democracy. And with direct democracy, the people have the ability to veto whatever Parliament is doing. And my argument is that the majority of people, it's the power of the people, and the majority of people want to get married and have kids, and so the majority of people want a family-friendly society, and they, no father wants his son to be gay, and no father wants his daughter to be a whore, and so if you put the people in charge, if there's a genuine democracy, then over a period of time, it won't happen straight away, but over a long enough period of time, you'll end up with a family-friendly society, because that's what most people want, basically. So, I mean, I would argue all this gay stuff has just been rammed through because we have representative democracy instead of direct democracy. And with representative democracy, what happens is you have, people get elected and then they just do whatever they want. They basically sell you a pack of lies, get elected, and then they just do whatever the hell they want. So this is the problem. Liberalism's gone in the wrong direction, essentially. First of all, we gave women the vote. That was the biggest mistake. But secondly, also, I think we should have followed the Swiss model. I think they had the correct conclusion.
Well, maybe direct democracy could replace what should have been the House of Lords job then.
Yeah, I mean, look. My argument is, I think you'd have a hard time convincing the British public to have a fascist dictatorship. I mean, maybe some people would be in favor of it, but that kind of.
I think the people who are in favor for it are Zoomers who have only known the world that was made for them and don't understand the flip side of it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not. Let me explain. I'm not against a temporary dictatorship, like a Cincinnati type situation. Okay, so in the old Roman Republic, Cincinnati was made the dictator. Famously, like, he was out farming. There was a disaster. They came to him. They said, "We need you to be the dictator." They made him the dictator. He had absolute authority. He won the war, and they just went back to farming. So he's considered to be a classic example of
or like a Pinochet character.
Well, that's the problem with the modern day dictatorship. It's a dictator for life, which is essentially just a monarchy.
Didn't Pinochet recede his dictatorship?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think he did.
Yeah.
It's going to be so rare, though. I mean, once a dictator has power, power corrupts, basically. Like, you could have someone who genuinely means to do something for the people, but when they get that power, it corrupts their mind. That's why we have a democracy, essentially, or supposed to have a democracy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other argument is, like, we don't really need a dictatorship. Like, Parliament is sovereign, and it can do whatever it wants. If you are in power and you pass the laws and the people vote for it, then it will happen. So you don't really need a dictatorship to utterly transform the country. Like, if we get into power and we say, right, we want a total ban on immigration, and then boom, and the people say, yeah. And then we say, right, we want mass deportations, and the people say, yeah, then it will happen. So
this has just been the problem with Tories and Labour. Labour have always traditionally used the power, and Tories have always gone, well, maybe we shouldn't mess with this, we shouldn't mess with that.
Yeah, Tories are pathetic and weak and stupid. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are the ultimate controlled opposition. Yeah,
and that's the problem with Labour being in power now, is they shouldn't have that kind of power. Arguably, you could argue that they don't have the mandate for it, but they're going to use it.
Right. I mean, well, that's my point. That's why I'm saying direct democracy. So I mean, this is why I'm saying liberalism has failed, right? "Quote unquote" failed because of representative democracy. Because the politicians lie, and then they get into power, and then they do whatever they want. That's my argument.
It's as I said to you, who represents me? You could argue my MP, but
yeah,
I doubt my MP would listen to me if I were to have a surgery with them.
Yeah. So what are these people arguing about in the chat? This is like some massive, what the fuck is going on here? Like Jimmy Round versus Warmelon. Holy fuck.
This seems to be going on throughout our circles as well.
What do you mean?
Arguing over. Well, how many arguments have you seen today?
I guess it's Christmas, isn't it? People haven't got anything better to do.
Yeah, maybe.
A lot of time sitting on the internet.
I mean,
what it is.
you could argue this is why you need a league to tell people the right sort of thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like, people say, like, oh, the power of. Anyway, do you see the point I'm making? Because you were making the argument that liberalism causes gay sex. My argument is that it's actually representative democracy that causes gay sex. Because if we had the power of referendum, we never would have legalized it in the first place.
Yeah, but we've always voted against immigration from day dot as well. The politicians haven't listened.
You're not understanding my argument. That's exactly
right. No,
what
I'm clearly not. Go on, try again. You
presented the argument to me that, and this is the argument that Sargon is pushing as well. You presented the argument to me that liberalism is the cause of the transgender movement and the gay pride movement and all of this. My counter argument is to say that it's not really liberalism itself. It's electoral. It's representative democracy that's the problem, because the politicians are able to lie, and so they just do whatever they want. And my argument is that if we had direct democracy, so that if we had referendums on everything, because that is what direct democracy is, if every act of parliament was then passed down to the people so that the people could say yay or nay, then the people of England never would have legalized homosexuality in the first place.
Possibly. I mean, I've got to be very careful what example I use. You're a pain in the arse. Right. But okay. No, you won't go for that one. No.
What?
Because I know some of your belief systems. I'm trying to step around some of your belief systems. I'm trying to find something you might agree with me on. What? Well, I mean, like, okay, there's a logical fallacy called the ad populum argument, which kind of says just because the popular census agrees doesn't mean it's true or factual.
Well, I would disagree with that. I mean, I've heard the fallacy, but I would disagree because, like, okay, let's take something that's popular. People like to eat. People need food. There you go. That's a popular opinion, right? I mean, my argument is that populism is built on human nature.
Well, the fallacy is when you're making an argument with someone. So, well, everyone agrees with me.
Yeah, I understand.
That's the fallacy. I've had to stoop to using that as a fallacy because the examples I would come across where the populace is wrong, you would agree with the populace. I know you would, because I know my own arguments. I'm trying to step around your belief system, which is you're paying Brutus for this.
Look. I understand what you're saying. I understand it is a logical fallacy to appeal to, everyone agrees with me, therefore I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
However, first of all, I just don't agree with all these logical fallacies. Just because some professor somewhere says this is a fallacy,
I don't
100%. Let me finish my point.
Go on.
When it comes to politics, I would say there is some truth in the idea of whatever how do you call the fallacy, ad populi or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because your country is supposed to represent the desires of the people. So if the people want something, then your political system should give it to them. Hello, Jesus, in the chat. So anyway, look, what do you think of my argument? Let me restate my argument then. My argument is that if we have direct democracy over a long enough period of time, we will create a family-friendly society because most people want to get married and have children. What do you think of that argument?
Okay. Doesn't mean that the populists will always be right. I guess, I'm trying to play devil's advocate now. That's essentially what I'm here to do.
No, I understand. Yeah. I mean, my argument is over a long enough period of time, the truth will come out. If you have, elections year after year after year after year, then gradually the whole civilization will trend to see it towards a kind of egalitarian, family-friendly society in which people can get married, have kids, and own a home. Because that's what everybody wants, basically. That's what everybody wants, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way our civilization used to be. People used to own their own homes and used to own their own small businesses and etc., etc. And that was the standard.
It's a shame that progressives has taken over the progressivism term now, I find. Because there's nothing wrong with being progressive per se. It just depends which direction you're being progressive in.
Well, yeah, there was some, like I say, the whole referendum thing was considered to be a progressive idea at the end of the 19th century. Yeah, it was, and so was the whole, what do they call it, trust busting, the monopoly busting. When the government in America, they broke up a lot of these large monopolies. That was a progressive idea. So yeah, they've taken the word, and the meaning of words change over time. That's for sure.
It's a shame about the whole meaning of words changing.
So have I got you then? Do you believe in direct democracy? Have I converted you? Are you ready to accept that England should become Switzerland?
Well, I could think of some examples, but you're not going to accept them, and I already know you're not going to accept them. So I'm not going to waste my breath on them.
Well, go on.
Well, okay. Well, take someone like Galileo.
Oh my God!
See,
it's got nothing to do with politics.
Yeah, but it kind of does, because it.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! Yeah, go on then. Fucking hell! Yeah, go on. Let's talk about Galileo. What has that got to do with direct democracy?
Well, if the populace is wrong about something, then that means we can make the wrong move. I get what you're saying. I mean, this is why representational democracy does have checks and balances.
Yeah, but it hasn't worked out though, has it? You know, I think it was what Jefferson said about it. He said direct democracy is like two wolves and a sheep sitting down and voting for what's for dinner. And my argument is, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, because it's politically advantageous for us at the moment. Yes,
to crush the minority.
I certainly can't find any flaws in your argument there.
Exactly.
But then I think about any future problems, because representative democracy have given us problems. That doesn't mean any direct democracy won't give us any problems.
Well, representative democracy by its very nature protects minorities and weird behavior. So, I mean, I'm just arguing, like, I just think, like, putting, flat Earth and globe Earth to one side, because I just think will derail the entire conversation, and it's just, I don't see the point in talking about it. But
I wasn't going to bring it up. I tried to step around it and come up with different examples, and I couldn't think of a better one.
Well, there you go. So, I mean, that's it. So embrace direct democracy. I mean, my argument is that we should have a small government that's allows people to. I mean, am I wrong when I say that most people want to get married and have kids? Am I wrong?
Well, I haven't polled everyone, but that seems like a popular wisdom. It doesn't seem to. What you say follows.
Am I wrong when I say most people have sexual desire?
Most people have sexual desire, yeah.
Yeah, and it leads to children, right? So, what are we talking about here? You know what I mean? You're young, you're horny, you want to have sex, you have sex with a girl, she's pregnant, and now you've got to look after the baby.
Well,
that is civilization. That's civilization.
In modernity, most most people don't like, in modern Western societies. Most people don't want to have. Well, I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people think I don't want to have children.
Yeah, and I would argue that's because they've been brainwashed against their innate nature.
Yes. So what stops brainwashing from undermining direct democracy? I'm only playing devil's advocate. I'm trying to make you think about.
Well, I would argue, first and foremost, the laws are what form society, and the mass media can have an influence, but they have to, and they can try to brainwash people, but I don't know. I just think you have to get the people to cross a certain line to change the laws, and until they do change the laws, then your brainwashing method is going to be stuck at a certain level. So I mean, you can apply a lot of brainwashing to get people to I don't know, legalize homosexuality, but I think most people are quite stubborn in that regard, and I just don't think they would have voted for it, no matter how much brainwashing was applied upon them. Unfortunately, we're just so many more steps down the line that all these things are harder to defend. But I don't know what's my argument to stop people from being brainwashed. Who funds the big media companies? There's a question for you. The government, right? With a direct democracy, I don't think the government will be able to fund these big companies to brainwash people. With a direct democracy, I don't think that you'd have the giant corporate monopolies in power to be able to fund the brainwashing of the people. With a direct democracy, I think you would have the idea with direct democracy is that it favors the people, and because it favors what the people want, they want to own their own homes, they want ownership of the land, and they want small businesses.
Yeah, I know why you're in favour of democracy. It's because the majority win over the minority, and at the moment we could do with that kind of power.
No, it's not just that. Look, my utopian vision. Maybe you can tell me if you disagree. This is my utopian vision, right? Small government, gold standard, no welfare state. We just have charity to help the homeless or whatever. And we have direct democracy. We have the right to bear arms. We have freedom of speech. Only the men can vote. And we've got majority home ownership. And we've got a strong small business community. That's it. That's egalitarian.
I'm with you on the home ownership, because I've always argued that if you have a full-time job, you should be able to afford a detached house within 5 years.
So this is my point. This is essentially the liberal dream. That's the libertarian dream. Small government, home ownership, small businesses, family-friendly society, an egalitarian society. You don't have, but in fact, if this is what Aristotle said, you want a stable civilization, you want a strong middle class, right? With some rich people at the top and some poor people at the bottom, but the majority of people have more or less the same amount of wealth. And then your civilization will be very happy and stable. There won't be too much envy. And
as long as the majority of the people can get what they need.
Yeah. And then you have an open society, right? Where people's doors are open and they talk to each other. There's not too much snobbiness. And that's the perfect civilization. So all I'm proposing is that dream. What America used to be and what this country to a certain extent used to be. That's all I'm proposing. So my argument is my question is, well, how do we get that? And my argument is that, well, representative democracy worked for a while, but now it's failed. Maybe we should try direct democracy, because that seems to be working in Switzerland.
Yeah, it would be nice to be a nation of shopkeepers rather than working for big multinational companies like Amazon all the time. I will admit that.
Well, so you agree that home ownership is crucial? Do you agree that?
I think it's definitely crucial. I've said many times that if you have a full-time job, you should be able to afford a detached house with a good garden. I mean, you could go for something small if you want a few luxuries here and there, but you should be able to afford a detached house with a garden to start a family with a full-time job. I won't speculate on what the wage of that should be, but if you're working full-time, that should be achievable.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to call it a family wage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you agree that if you want a strong economy, we should have how could I phrase it? A lot of small businesses. We should have a strong small business sector, or whatever you want to call it. Do you think the vast majority of people should work in small businesses?
Well, the more businesses are, the more competition is, and in theory, if there's competition, then the better quality service will arise from that.
Right. Because this is the thing. Like, I define myself as a capitalist, but really, I'm a small business capitalist. I'm not like capitalism. The defense of capitalism has come to mean the defense of
big business.
Yeah, which is absurd. That's not capitalism is supposed to be about defending the baker, the butcher, the greengrocer, your local pub, your local scaffolder, etc., etc., etc. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about defending Facebook, right? Or Stephen J. James's hero, Elon Musk. You know, it's like it's supposed to be about defending small businesses so that everybody gets a slice of the pie, so that we can have this egalitarian liberal utopia, essentially.
And we've had governments that have been against small businesses for too long now.
Yeah, and they do it in defense of capitalism. It's absurd.
Yeah, in defense of big businesses that essentially are going for monopolies.
Yeah, they form monopolies and they crush people. I mean, Tesco's classic example. Tesco's teamed up with Tony Blair, by the way. I mean, they did all kinds of backhanded deals to get a lot of land, and they really expanded their growth during the Labour years, and put a lot of people out of business. You know.
Well, as a small business owner, I'm completely in favour of that. You know, to be honest, if I could start one small business, I'd love to own my own pub, but it's just not the world to own a small like a pub.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't take a pub on lightly at the moment. Perhaps 40 years ago or whatever. Fine, but not at the moment.
Yeah, so it seems like we more or less agree. That's what we want. This is just like bog standard. I mean, would you agree with tearing down the education system?
It needs reform. That's. I mean, they don't teach kids the right thing. Like, I mean, they should go back to teaching kids what they traditionally did 100 years ago or so, because we had a bit better quality of education. I mean, we had this debate before about like how, because everyone said, "Oh, everyone's so educated." So they're not educated at all. They're overqualified and undereducated, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're still a little bit hooked into the welfare state. I mean, what about NHS? Would you scrap that?
Oh my God! Sorry, you've lost me there. Am I for the welfare state?
Well, I'm saying this: the welfare state's a trident of Satan. It's got 3 points that it stabs you with, right? It's got education, it's got the NHS, and it's got pensions, right? And this is like what half of our taxes is spent on. I want to scrap the lot of it. I want to get rid of all of it.
I think as a
give us a tax break.
I can't envision a world without that. Maybe that's a failing of me growing up in modernity.
It's because you're a northerner. That's what it is.
Well, I think it's because I've grown up in modernity, and sometimes it's hard to work out how another life would lead itself without certain things. So, you know, maybe you got me on that, but just because I can't envision it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. So I'll say that for you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well. How can I? Okay, but but you do understand that it's not free. Okay, it's being paid for by us with our taxes.
Yeah, but I mean, where are most of our taxes going? I mean, yeah, NHS,
The
yeah,
boomers.
certainly, so yeah, boomers. But like our taxes go everywhere. I mean, I mean, a lot of foreign spending. As a car advocate, you know, I pull my hair about how many taxes go into anti-car propaganda and anti-travel propaganda and
Right.
all the things that happen there and all the quangos around it. Like, our taxes go on so much bullshit.
Yeah. But it's not. I mean, the point I'm making is it's not like it's advertised like it's free education, but it's not free education. We've got to pay
You see, I
taxes.
I, I, I see that I see that some. I mean, like I mean, this is the whole libertarian sort of arguments as well, and then they talk about like, well, we can have roads, but maybe that could be like a toll road or something. Sometimes you have to find the correct balance, and I just advocate for less taxes rather than more taxes. I don't think you're going to get away from them altogether.
Right. Well, I mean, like when it comes to roads, yeah, I understand. Like you don't want toll roads. That's a bit silly. I mean, okay. What do you think about nationalizing? Because I would nationalize the water
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
gas, and the electricity for sure, because there's a natural monopoly, and we actually paid for the infrastructure for that stuff for a lot of it
certainly.
anyway.
Well, there is a place for taxes, but like it's like anything else. We can't just milk the taxpayer to pay for bullshit all the time. And
Yeah.
we kind of need a constitution to sort of say this is what taxes pay for, nothing else.
We've got Tharium in the chat saying, direct democracy is going to spend more money on the NHS. I mean,
He's not wrong though, is he?
I don't know, is he? I wouldn't vote for it.
I think a lot. The NHS is like a god in this country, even amongst the populace, and you know it.
Really? I hate it.
I think you're speaking as a minority there.
Really?
Yeah.
Do people really? They really love it?
I think the masses love the NHS, yeah.
Do you know, I think some people use it as like an entertainment. I really do. I think they feel like, I don't know, like, oh, I'm going to the hospital to speak to a doctor. I don't know, maybe it like makes them feel important or something. Do you know what I mean? They get a kick out of it or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not pretending I have the. I'm not pretending I have the answers for everything. I think we need a capitalist dictator to come in, rip all of this shit out, and reboot the whole system with a gold standard, with no welfare state, which means no education, no NHS, no pensions, no nothing, and kick all the foreigners out, and ban homosexuality and all that weirdness, and take the vote away from women, and break up all these big, monopolies. I don't know if we have so many in our country, but anyway, make life easier for small businesses, and cut all the taxes so that we only have a VAT tax. And I reckon I could run the country off like 200 billion.
I sometimes think that if we encourage small businesses, I think the unemployment rate would certainly reduce.
Yeah, you've got to scrap minimum wage, scrap all of these workers' rights, make it easier to employ people.
Think of all the unemployed who basically don't want to go to work because they don't want a boss. Well, how easy is it to become your own boss?
Yeah.
If you made small businesses easiest, well, I'll start your own small business then. Easiest pie. Here you go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's just the way I feel. I think we need a great. Maybe I need to explain that more. I don't know, mate. I mean, I don't know. That's just the way I feel. That's what I want. I want my libertarian utopia. That is my libertarian utopia. That's it. That's the dream. I don't know what else to say. I think. I mean, do you like the idea of yearly elections? Like I was talking to
I don't know how I feel about yearly elections because then you make it sound like that every time it's going to be a year, in which case politicians are going to think of a yearly cycle rather than the 4-year cycle they're on now.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I
it.
mean, I would say it's a double-edged sword there.
Well, I would argue that like every year they'd make a manifesto, and then they'd have to play out that manifesto, get that passed, and if they don't, then they won't get voted for again. So you'd hold them to account because currently with the 4-year program, they get elected and then they're in parliament and then they just got to sit. They don't have to do anything. They just
As I say, 4-year. That's the American system. We have a 5-year one.
Oh, 5-year. Yeah, they just sit around doing nothing. Like they don't have to do anything. So I think it just makes them lazy and useless. But if they have to get elected every year, then they will have to go into parliament, do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, like when a general election is announced, it's usually like 12 months notice. Usually, I know we've had some weird and rocky elections in the past decade, but then they basically go into sort of election routine and they spend all their time trying to get elected and not bringing in any policies.
Okay, look, here's the dream. Here's the dream. Okay, the way I see it, the year starts in the spring anyway, right? Actually, the year in England used to start in the spring in the medieval
period.
Still
does, doesn't it?
Tax year still ends on April. It was in 1750 that we changed so that we began the year on January 1st. But anyhow, so my idea is like we have spring, we have a big holiday in spring, kind of like Christmas. And we can have like the maypole, we can have like a festival, whatever. We have a general election. The politicians come in, they pass all the acts of parliament they said they were going to pass that are in their manifesto. They debate it in parliament for like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is. Then we have a referendum and we confirm which parts of their manifesto we want and which maybe some parts we don't want, whatever. We get that done. And then the politicians go back to talking to each other and debating and whatever. And then we have Christmas. And then basically between Christmas and spring, you'll have like this 2-month period where they're reorganizing themselves, writing up their manifesto for next year and campaigning and what have you. And then we have the election and then the cycle just repeats itself yearly. That would be my dream. So that's the way I see it. And then because then you're on the ball, right? You've got a big stick. You're beating the politicians on the head every year. It's like, do what you said you were going to do. Do what is in your manifesto. Do what is in your manifesto. Get it done. Boom, 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 boom. And you're holding them to account. Do you see what I'm saying? I
see what you're saying. I'm trying to think why the politicians aren't doing what we ask of them now.
Because they're not under threat. There's no threat.
Well, it's not just that. It's like when you hear Truss talk about the 4 layers above the Prime Minister, and you talk about the civil service and all the pushback from all that, you've got to get all that out of the way first.
Well, that can all be changed with acts of parliament.
I see.
Well, Parliament is still sovereign, so you just get in there, you change the laws, and you fix all of that. You just make a law and you say, well, we're passing this law which gives us the power to sack everybody in the civil service.
I sometimes wonder that, like, I mean, there's a deep state in this country. There's a deep state in every country. I just think as plebeians, do we fully understand our deep state?
I mean, also this is part of the beauty of direct democracy, because you'll have a clear mandate. Because you pass the act, it goes through Parliament, it gets passed to the people, we have a referendum on it, and then it's like, well, the people have agreed, this is what must happen. And so it's going to be very difficult for the deep state to say, oh no, So if we get into Parliament and Parliament passes an act saying that the Prime Minister has the ability to sack people in the BBC or whatever, they want to get the BBC under control because it's corrupt. right? So it goes through Parliament, goes through a referendum, people say yes, and then the Prime Minister's right start sacking people. What's the BBC going to say? Oh no, this is against our constitutional or some bullshit. Like, it's like, no, mate, we had a referendum. This is what the people want. Like, fuck off. That's it. You see what I'm saying? Same with the Bank of England. Same with the police force. Same with all of these institutions of power. You get the Prime Minister in there. They pass the law, goes through Parliament. Parliament says yes, goes to the people, referendum. People say yes. That's it. Game over. Right? There's nothing that the deep state will be able to say against it. Nobody will be able to say, "Oh, this is fascism. You're Donald Trump. You're Adolf Hitler." And it's like, no, mate. We had a referendum. Like, just fuck off with your bullshit. Just see what I'm saying? It gives you a clear mandate of the people.
I guess so. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it just seems very clear to me. I don't know, mate. I mean, that's my conclusion.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You've brought me on, and you've claimed I'm an expert. I'm far from an expert. I
was only joking, mate.
I know. It's because I told you to say what this discussion was, and you decided.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was just winding you up.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Well, there are better ways to wind me up, apparently. Anyway, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on these things. I'm just another man with an opinion.
Yeah.
And
okay,
and nothing is ever simple. And you can't account for it. No one can account for everything. I don't care who they are.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest trap of liberalism, apart from giving women the vote, I think the biggest problem with it, and Tharian pointed this out, like the biggest problem is the welfare state. That's the biggest problem, and that's the biggest trap for democracy, because what can happen is you end up with a dependent class of people, and these that are getting benefits from the government, or from the government taxing the people, and then this class just grows and like a parasite until it consumes the entire country, which is essentially what's happened to us. We're all being tax raped so we can pay for the boomers. The entire country is being consumed because of the greed of the boomers, because they want their pensions and they want their NHS, and they also want their BBC. They want it all, right? So, I mean, I think some kind of law would have to be passed, which would say that, like, if you are receiving benefits from the government, then you're not allowed to vote. Essentially, that would have to be passed to prevent that from happening. So, yeah.
Well, I'm with you with the welfare thing. I think we need to do something about the wage slave phenomenon. I think you're right about the small business. I think small business is the way out of the wage slave thing.
Yeah,
I really do. Like, it's what I think without a replacement for welfare, good, and I think small business might be a good replacement for it. Sort of like, how many people on welfare that are basically just dodging a job? And I'm not talking about disabled people or whatever. I'm not talking about people who are just dodging a job. And it's sort of like, the reason you're dodging a job is because you don't want to be a wage slave. What you want is to be able to work for yourself, because there's something good about working for yourself. I really enjoy working for myself, because working for yourself is it's not the same as being a wage slave. It's like you work hard, you perhaps work harder, but it's just better for the soul.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's got to be the goal. It should be like the old days where you work for somebody else from like 14 to 24 or whatever, and then you buy your own land and you work for yourself, or you set your own business up and you work for yourself. Like, you do an apprenticeship and then you do the thing yourself. That's how it was naturally in the medieval period for like, hundreds of years or whatever, or thousands of years. Like, if you are a young man, you work for somebody else, and then when you grow up and you become a man, then you've got your own property and your own business, and then you get a wife, and then you have kids, and the cycle repeats itself. That's the standard.
And that doesn't even sound utopian. It just sounds how it should be to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think David Graeber talks about this in his book. Well, I did a whole video on it, didn't he? Bullshit jobs. You know, he's just he went into the whole psychology of it, like the idea that you know, because I encounter this at work all the time. It's like you do your job, and then maybe you've got like a gap, and there's nothing for you to do, but you've got to pretend to be busy, right? Because you're being paid by the hour, and it's like, and
I
you
had a
kind of
job
point,
like that. Yeah, it's
yeah,
and it's soul destroying.
it's soul
Like,
destroying. Yeah, you don't have anything to do, but you've got to pretend that you're busy. It's like you're a slave being told to dance on one leg and bark like a dog. Do you know what I mean? It's just,
and you wonder why people are on welfare. That's exactly why. Whereas if you encourage small business, it's sort of like you could work for yourself and do a job that actually matters and means something.
yeah. And that whole book is very interesting because the way that book was written, basically he made a blog post talking about bullshit jobs and the psychological effects of it. And then he had a massive response from the people that read his blog. And he had all of these people writing him all of these. And this is what the whole book is about. He's got all of these people writing him all these letters, basically just saying, you know, telling him all about their terrible jobs and how they've got to pretend to be busy all day long. But their job is actually just complete bullshit and they're not doing anything valuable at all. And it's just pure psychological torment, even if you're getting well paid. Because a lot of these people are just office workers with well-paid jobs, but they're flunkies, or there's some kind of glitch in the office where somebody's hired an entire department to do something that doesn't need to be done, or whatever, and the people higher up haven't noticed it. But the manager's pretending, because the manager wants to protect his job, so he's got to pretend that the people that work for him are busy in that department, even when actually they're just not doing anything at all. And so they got to go into work and they got to stare at a computer screen for like 8 hours a day and pretend they're doing something when they've actually got nothing to do.
Yeah, and you can't watch YouTube or go on Facebook. You actually have to put a spreadsheet or something that looks like you're actually doing something productive. I've been there. I've done that job. And that's why I'm self-employed now, because I couldn't stomach it any longer. And the idea of going back to that sort of way of working, it's so bad. I mean, if anyone's watching this and has never been in that position, you were so lucky.
Yeah, because and he said just the environment, the work environment it becomes very, very abusive, more so than in a productive work environment, because everybody's unhappy, I suppose. And I suppose like also the managers, they have to flex their power because they have to prove that they're worth something, because obviously they're not doing any work. So how do they prove they're worth something? They prove it by shouting at people and what have you. So it just becomes an awful environment, and it's also just incredibly inefficient. Everybody knows these giant institutions are usually very, very, very inefficient. Small businesses are much more efficient because it's your business, it's your money, and you care about it, right? So, yeah.
I'm having Vietnam flashbacks right now.
Yeah. But, well, you agree then. You agree with me. So
on this, yeah. I think it'd be so much better for the soul if small businesses were allowed to thrive rather than these soulless big business shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. And so cut the welfare, and then we'll run the whole country off VAT. Right. The beauty of VAT is that if the government raises VAT, then people just stop buying stuff. So it makes it impossible for the government to, overtax the people. That's why it's in the American Constitution. It says no direct taxation. If the taxation's indirect, then essentially you don't have to pay it if you don't want to, or you can at least avoid it to a certain extent. That will solve the housing problem. We got a huge problem with rich people buying up property, buying up second homes, particularly where I live. But they, in defense of the rich people, they're only doing it because it's the only way to protect their money.
It's considered a safe investment because at least you have bricks and mortar ultimately.
Yeah, because we have a fiat currency, right? So everything's being inflated away slowly. or sometimes quickly. So, like, if they just keep cash in their bank account, then they lose 10% of it over the course of a year or whatever it is, and so they can't do that. So they buy property instead. But if you have a gold standard, that's all different. Now you can just save money instead of buying property. So what I'm saying is, like, you don't need a land tax essentially to stop people from owning two homes. You just need to go back to having a VAT run country. That should stop the second home problem and free up a lot of property, and obviously kick the foreigners out. And yeah, I mean, that's the liberal dream. That's it. This is another reason, by the way, why I think Sargon's making a big mistake turning against liberalism, because he's also turning against classical liberal economics. And I don't see him talking about this much. I don't see him talking about a gold standard, but so many of our problems are coming because Woodrow Wilson put America on he created the Fed and he put America on the fiat. Well, it didn't happen straight away. It happened with the Bretton Woods Agreement after the Second World War, but and the Nixon shock. But whatever. I mean, he created the central bank, and then of course Nixon floated the dollar, and now the whole world is just slowly going bankrupt. It's getting eaten alive because the Fed can print as many dollars as it wants out of thin air, and all wealth is just being inflated into nothing. It's a total economic disaster. I've never seen Sargon talk about this. Maybe he has, and I missed it. But if you're going to reject liberalism, then you're also, I mean, are you rejecting the concept of the gold standard? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his opinion is on this. But classical liberals were in favor of the gold standard, and this would solve so many of our problems.
I don't think Sargon talks about it specifically. It's not his wheelhouse, but he has Dan Tubbs for that.
Yeah.
It's our Brokenomics series and everything, and Dan knows his onions when it comes to the economy.
Yeah. Well, he's in favor of a gold standard, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I wish I could ask him, but again, it's that click thing. I'd love to have Dan Tubbs on. I've always respected him.
Hang on a minute. Brutus knows me. He'll tell you I'm English. He's been to my house. Yeah, I went to your house in Pakistan. So I couldn't resist it. Sorry, mate. Sorry, Jimmy. Just a joke. Don't know who you are, mate. I'm sure you're English. What are these two people fighting about? War. Oh my God. Wow. Look at these people just going at it. Come on, guys. It's Christmas. Come on, guys.
Christmas is the time of arguments.
It really is, isn't it? Family. It's like every family has a massive argument at Christmas, isn't it? It's just like.
I think this whole of season of goodwill, it's all utter bullshit. I know we're supposed to be a sociable, race of people and what have you, but sometimes I wonder about that.
Well, I hate it. I mean, I celebrated Christmas by myself this year, and it's much better. Thank you very much. I used to hate it in the old days where it's like you're forced to like this is the thing. Like people just it's like they feel like they need to overdo it. Like if it was just a case of let's meet up, have a family dinner, have a few drinks, and then go home, that would be fine. But for some reason, they just can't do that. For some reason, it's got to be this kind of like marathon where you go there and you're there for all Christmas Day or all Christmas Eve and then all Christmas Day, and then you got to do Boxing Day as well. And it's like, dude, like fucking holy shit. Like this is too intense. You know what I mean? Can't we just like have something to eat, have a few beers, and then go home? So I think people just overdo it, and then it leads to all kinds of explosions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we are social creatures, but we need some alone time as well. It needs to be balanced. I think you shouldn't force socialism, not the political theory, but like people being social all the time. So I think you should be social when you're able to be social and when you feel up to being social. It depends on what kind of person you are, I guess, because there's the extroverts and the introverts and the Kiri-erts that are kind of in between. But it depends what you imagine. This is sort of like how many introverts are forced into social situations they're just not ready for.
Yeah, well, I think Christmas is like very much a women thing, and women are much more comfortable with it. Like women can just sit and watch TV all day long, and it doesn't bother them. But for most men, it's like some grueling. Like Christmas just becomes this grueling ordeal when it really shouldn't be. And men get told off for this all the time. I used to work with a guy, and it was his daughter's. Like this guy worked hard. This guy worked like a 50-hour week, whatever. It was his daughter's birthday. And so he got some presents for his daughter, gave the presents to, spent the morning with his daughter, and then he went to the pub, and his wife just threw an absolute fucking Benny, right? Oh, it's your daughter, how you deserted her on her birthday. And it's like you're just expecting too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the holy fuck? Like, the guy works a 50-hour week. He just wants to go to the pub and have a few beers at the end of the week. Like he said, happy birthday to his daughter. Why you got to make it into such a big deal? Why you've got to why is it that women demand that men just like, oh, you have to be there for the whole of Christmas Day and the whole of Boxing Day and Christmas Eve as well. And then we're going to have the next family engagement and then the next family. It's like this Christmas becomes this like marathon intense austerity where you're like locked in this house with these people and you're just eating lots of cake and chocolate and you're drinking and you're drinking more and more to just try and blot it out. And if you go for a walk around the block by yourself, then your wife gives you an evil look and it's just awful.
Women are dreamers and they have this picture in their mind of what things are going to be like, and when it doesn't meet their expectation, that's when they start kicking off about it.
Yeah. Socialization's good in small doses. We had a great Christmas party this year. I thought with the people from work, we all we went to work and then we went to the pub, had a couple of beers, had a meal, and then I just drove home, and that was it. And it was like the whole thing took 3 hours, and it was nice. And that's it. That's what you want. You want 3 hours, and then you fucking leave me alone. Eh?
When I was in that job that I was telling you about, it was basically a bullshit job. Imagine going to a Christmas party with these people.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, people at work are arse. I mean, everybody knows the number one problem at work is the boss. So that's it.
Well, sometimes it's the people around you as well. It depends,
sometimes it's them as well. Usually it's the boss.
Usually, I mean, you could think you've landed the dream job, and then you're surrounded by arseholes, and then that dream's going to die fairly fast.
Yeah.
This is small businesses. You are so right, but we need lots of small businesses. The more, the better.
Yeah. Family agrees. Yeah. Anyway, 32 people watching. Why do people always come at the end? I mean, I've kind of run out. I mean, so what do we? So you agree?
I think we're just chatting, to be honest. Yeah. Well.
So March on Parliament, good idea, but how to convince people, don't know. Yearly elections, you're 50-50 on that, but direct democracy, have I got you on that one? Are you?
I'd be more convinced about direct democracy. It's the yearly thing. I think needs fleshing out a bit more. To be honest, like I said, right. Politicians are already thinking a 5-year cycle. We don't need it any shorter than that.
Right. Okay. But now that you've got the idea in your head about having a referendum on every act of Parliament, does that appeal to you as a way?
I would since the House of Lords has been subverted, I would almost do it like what the House of Lords is. Well, what I've been told the House of Lords are supposed to say. So I'll lay out like this. Anything a party puts through on their manifesto doesn't need a referendum. However, if they add something that wasn't in their manifesto, it should be direct democracy as a check and balance.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can't have referendum on absolutely everything.
Why not? The Swiss do. They have 3 referendums a year.
Oh, yeah, but
3 big referendums.
but 3 referendums a year that can't be everything.
Yeah, they do. Look, I can look it up if you want. I mean, hang on a minute. Switzerland referendum. Wow, we've got 2021. Let's see if I get. Oh, here we go. Right. Close that. Right. Let me share this. Share screen. Share screen. Click on that. Share that. Right. Can you see that? Yes, you can. So, yeah. So federal referendums were held in Switzerland 7th March, 13th of June, and 26th September, and 28th of November in 2021. Ban on full facial coverings, Federal Act on Electronic Identification Services, economic partnership agreed with Indonesia. Right.
Because they rejected digital ID. I think that was basically one of them.
Yeah. See? 50% turnout.
Did you hear about the Indian?
This is it. Sorry.
Did you hear about the Indian digital ID? That I think it was 3 million digital IDs were stolen.
Right. Yeah, so they got the COVID Act. That wasn't a good one. That was approved. Like I say, I'm not saying direct democracy is perfect. Sometimes
the COVID one, that's all down to brainwashing, which kind of, you know.
Well, like I say, I mean, the brainwashing comes from having big businesses, and the idea is that the direct democracy should undermine the big businesses. I mean, what you got to understand about Switzerland, it is a small landlocked country in the middle of Europe. It's the only country in the world that's really practicing this. So you know, they've got a lot of pressure on them. I think they're doing okay considering. But look, they rejected greenhouse gas emissions. I don't know what this one's about. Yeah, but anyway, this is the way they roll, dude. Same-sex marriage approved. Oh, God. 2021.
From my point of view, they're very anti-car in Switzerland, though.
Yeah. But anyway, point being, look at all these votes, right? And they've got a very high
if that was so anti-car, do you know it's illegal to wash your car in Switzerland?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that? I've just lost you now, haven't I? It's over.
I didn't know how the Swiss political system works, so I'm just sort of saying referendum isn't perfect.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Look, I mean, if we had referendums, and when David Lammy tries to take away our jury
right to a jury trial,
yeah, we would be able to say no. You know, so that's kind of my point.
What's the status? Has that gone through now? I mean, following that too close is much to my shame.
I don't know. I'm just saying also, like, we live in a world of Wilsonian idealism, right? This is my final point. We live in a world of Wilsonian idealism. So we live in the world of Woodrow Wilson and his dream of the New World Order. We live in the world of the dream of world democracy, world peace through democracy, world peace through the whole world following liberal democracy. And this is the ideology which pretty much everybody follows. And so kind of part of what I'm saying is why not just go with the flow instead of pushing back against it and dreaming of some fascist dictatorship? Why not just go with the flow and say, well, you want world peace, let's have referendums on everything. And then this will just like slow down the globalist agenda, I think. So,
yeah, well, there is that, because I think the masses are against the globalists, whether they know they're against globalists or not.
Yeah,
I think when you talk about globalism to a lot of the populace or normies, or whatever you want to put them, they're going to look at you like a conspiracy theorist, and the conspiracy theorist in the worst way possible.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I don't know what else to say. Right, I've run out of steam, so I'm going to go and do
Fair
something
enough.
else. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Jimmy and Warmelon, like, what's up with you guys, huh? What's up with you guys? Warmelon seems to be on my side. He's on the side of the zombie mob, so good for you, Warmelon. And thank you for the debate, Mercian. It was good that we got that out in the open. And what day is it? Is it Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came as a surprise to me. I thought it'd be like a Thursday or Friday. We're in the Crimbo limbo, aren't we? No one knows what's going on.
No, it's all a bit weird, isn't it? So, what I guess are you gonna be there tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, I ain't got no reason why I shouldn't. Not yet, anyway.
Cool. All right. Well, see you tomorrow. See everybody in the chat tomorrow. And thank you very much. And good night. Good night. Good night.